Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your friendly Ghost Exodus neighbor, and I'm here to talk to you about mental health, specifically my mental health. Most of you have some modicum of an idea of where I've been all these years, but I want to start with a summary of some of the things that I experience on a day-to-day basis. My friends who know me the best will tell you that I have multiple personalities. Technically, I have 4. I also experience auditory and visual disturbances, PTSD, from my time being in prison for 12 years. I talk to myself. Everybody at my job knows that I'm that guy who talks to himself. I will literally withdraw so deeply into my own mind that I will not be cognizant or aware of the fact that I will finish my own thoughts verbally and literally talk to myself. I almost have no control over that, because I will zone so deeply out of focus while I'm working, and I will have a thought, and I may verbalize that thought mid-sentence and or actually answer my thoughts that I'm having. Some of you have noticed a sudden flurry of videos that I made last week. That is because I was experiencing some form of mania, and I got a lot done, but still. I also suffer from paranoia because of my experiences with the justice system. I will frequently look behind my back while I'm at work or on the street or in public, because I'm always thinking that the FBI are sneaking up on me. The multiple personalities, I think, are a fascinating topic. Most of you know that multiple personalities are a trauma response. Multiple personalities are formed to help the mind cope with a trauma. Most of you also don't know that I was a member of a church cult for 5 years, especially during the time that I started the ETA. Which is why I was so radical and religious and very much a zealot. A lot of the things that I did in the beginning were religiously motivated. The church cult was led by a megalomaniac, spiritual narcissist who micromanaged every facet of my personal life, all the way down to who I could date, whether or not I could have a job or go back to college. Where I lived also depended on his approval. He controlled everything in my life. Some of you know also that I was the music director of that church, so I was pretty instrumental in helping this man shine. The extremity of the control that he had over my life put me in a position where I began to, seek avenues of escape, escapism. And I had returned to hacking as a means to regain some semblance of control and validation, self-validation over my life. And then there was this battle between that man and myself, my mother and my family, the people of this church. They would tell me that Ghost Exodus isn't your screen name, it's actually a demon that controls you. Like, you are outside the will of God, and, if you were to die today, you would go to hell. And the absolute terror of believing that I had made myself an enemy of God, and the fact that my family was rejecting me. What caused me just this basically to try to get rid of all influences of hacking in my life, go back to being a good subservient Christian, only to gravitate back into hacking, and then for them to reprimand or rebuke me, and for them to excommunicate me or cut me off, or just convince me that because I was outside the will of God, that I had opened up the door for demons to ravage my life, and the fear and the terror that I was serving this vengeful, very angry God, that every little thing that I did would cause me to lose my salvation or burn in hell. So there was this constant switching back and forth and back and forth and back and forth between that and the totalitarian control over my life, to the point where I began to split apart, where on one hand I was subservient Jesse McGraw, on the other hand I was this cyber vigilante rebel Ghost Exodus, where I had polarized objectives, a polarized sense of, a worldview, polarized beliefs, polarized lifestyle, completely separate from either, where I couldn't be them both at the same time. I was either one or the other, and in the end, it was Ghost Exodus. Now, Ghost Exodus is extremely radical, fearless, indomitable. He always has a plan. He always has an answer. He is, in my mind, in a way, like I know this might be sacrilegious, but I'm using this as a figure of speech. He is like my pseudo-savior. I also struggle with a form of dysmorphia because, as Jesse McGraw, after 12 years in prison, I look at who I used to be, at the character of Ghost Exodus, and I feel that I am somehow extremely inferior to the man I once was. And I know that's so backwards. It's something that I'm just now overcoming. Whenever I feel like I'm losing control, that's when Ghost Exodus appears. And I can trigger that personality, that insane, radical personality, which you see in all my videos. And whenever I would put on this mask, either those motorcycle goggles or that silver mask, even before it even touches my face, I get goosebumps, and I feel this massive rush of endorphins just flood my brain, and my body just feels like I can't explain it, it's electrifying. Right before I put on that mask, I can feel this force within me increasing, and then I switch. And music is also an alter trigger for me too. Certain music will trigger that mind frame. And in that mind frame, it's like my own process tree will dissolve and a new process tree will begin to expand with new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of thinking. Because Ghost Exodus's mind is constantly like a Rubik's Cube, trying to solve puzzles, constantly trying to find the answers to every question, to resolve every conflict. I feel absolutely fearless when I am Ghost Exodus. He has a problem with consequences. When I experience that switch, I almost forget where I've been for the last 12 years. And I just so happen to remember virtually, well, almost everything that time has taken from me. I start to remember what it was like to walk in his shoes, and I start to decompartmentalize everything that I had hidden about who I was while in prison, either out of shame because of religious conviction, or out of wanting to obtain acceptance and earn my family's love. All that was compartmentalized while I was in prison. I didn't have their support. I didn't even see my mom for 5 years at one time. But when I become him, everything just explodes like a supernova. And it's weird. He is the victorious side of who I am. He got me through prison. Mostly him. Mostly him. I got jumped twice. I never lost a fight because of his courage. Because nothing scares him. I remember there was this inmate, I'm going to say his name, is Jeffrey Charles Brutain III. Big guy, over 6 feet tall, muscular, practicing taekwondo every day, looking like a badass. But guess what? He would get picked on and bullied in our TV room, and nobody would help him because of his pretentious silver spoon in the mouth. I went to Wharton. Kind of bougie-ass kind of guy. Securities fraud. Nobody would protect him because they hated him. But when Ghost seen him getting bullied, Ghost whooped some ass. Actually, I've been in 3 fights. Ghost was the one who rallied up 150 people in a jail pod in Seagoville detention center when there was a man who was being denied medical care. He would lay on the ground in front of the guard's desk, and the guard refused to call medical services to have him checked out to make sure he was okay. It was Ghost Exodus who rallied every ethnical group and gang to surround the guard and tell him, we aren't locking ourselves up. We ain't racking up till you get this guy out of here. Turns out he was having a brain aneurysm. Fearless. How do you do it? I don't know. I don't know. It's insane. It was Ghost Exodus who, on a 4-day, 24/7 lockdown, rallied about a quarter of the jail unit to flood the unit, to flood their toilets. We had toilet water pouring off the top tier because of some arbitrary corporate punishment. The guards never found out who it was who was harassing them day and night. I would throw my voice around, change my voice with different accents. They never figured out it was me. They wanted to read me the riot act. They couldn't figure out who it was. Freaking insane. I look back and I can't even believe I'm even alive. Mental health. I'm not doing good. I really am not. Talking to myself is it comes naturally as my own thoughts. But you know what? I'll survive that too. Yeah, I will. But anyways, mental health, it's difficult. But hey, not alone. It feels good being able to tell other people how fucking insane I am. Look where I've been. I survived that. I survived 13 months in solitary and temperatures up to 125 degrees without AC, fans, adequate ventilation, contaminated meals, contaminated water, heat rashes, chronic dehydration, hallucinations, sleep deprivation, starvation. Then in the wintertime, I showered in ice water. Survived that too. Survived hypothermia. Survived pneumonia. I had to take a razor blade and cut my own toenails out because I couldn't walk anymore. My nails were growing out the side of my toes. Nobody would help me. Survived that. I survived a lot of stuff. And here I am. I'm a hot mess. But I'm still kicking. I'm still Ghost Exodus. I'm still as rebellious as I was the day I was born. You can't break me.